Oh, Paul.
Hi, Drew.
Episode 4.
Here we are.
Here we are. I don't really have any follow-up other than we have some of our first podcast reviews. I don't know if you've read them yet.
I did, yeah.
Let's see here. The first is the first comes from Gene's Face, which I guess could be Gene.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Yeah, the subject of the review is Earjoy. And he writes, I was going to finally start reading in the evening, but this is much better.
I agree. We're much better than reading.
We are much better than reading. And then, yeah, MG, which I think I know who that is.
That would
Hashtag,
be, friend of the show,
yeah.
Mike Gadd.
Yeah, friend of the show, Mike Gadd, also a huge Vin Diesel fan, says, not diarrhea, people. I love that you guys are doing this. I needed more Paul and Drew in my life. We currently have 3-star ratings. We are 5 out of 5 right now.
Yeah, so far so good.
I'm sure if people are listening, someone will knock our average down because that's the way people are.
Right.
Oh boy.
So, after listening to you talk about Chernobyl, I binge watched the entire 5 episodes in about 1.5 days, and then devoured the podcast in my commute this week. And
okay.
Yeah, I was really impressed. It's a good show. I enjoyed listening to the podcast because, like you said, the writer kind of talked about where he deviated from reality and how he kind of like invented characters that represented, hundreds of people and, what was dramatized and what wasn't. But wow, like I always knew it was bad, but what the Russians did to fix the problem was truly amazing.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. The Soviet Union and Russia writ large has always never been starved of manpower. In fact, expendable manpower is kind of like pretty on brand for them.
Right.
I mean, if you go to war with Germany or you go to war with a nuclear reactor, they will throw a ton of people at a problem until it gets fixed.
Yeah, they sure did. It was impressive. Yeah. And you were right that the 4th episode, for those of you who are going to watch it, which I highly recommend, it's very good, but the 4th episode will hit you right in the feels.
Yep.
That was some tough TV to watch.
Yeah, I have talked to people who I know will never watch the show, and I start to explain what happens in episode 4, and they literally grab their chest. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. And like I said, if I were in Pavel's shoes, man, there would have been nothing stopping me from just turning that gun on myself. Especially that scene in the apartment.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. We said too much.
Yeah, no spoilers, but wow.
Now, did you watch it yourself or watch it with the wife?
I just watched it myself. I kind of just watched it on the iPad when my family was doing other stuff.
Yeah. So I'm glad you enjoyed that. It was a really good show. Some of those radiation scenes, though, man, oof.
Yeah, it was intense. Like, and then listening to the podcast and hearing just how much of like that was like just truth. Like that's what they did. Mm-hmm. It was incredible.
Yeah. I'm really glad you liked it. Yeah, it's really good show. Really good show.
It was.
I got a good one for you. Good one for you.
All right, let's do it.
I stumbled on this week. Actually, just today. So, I know that you've mentioned before that your son plays Fortnite.
He does.
And I think that it's safe to say that even though Fortnite didn't start out that way, Fortnite is pretty stock in trade when it comes to the genre of games known as Battle Royale games, correct?
That is correct. That is the primary play mode for Fortnite. Yeah.
Yeah, so for those of our listeners that either have never played Fortnite, don't have immediate family members that play Fortnite, or any other game for that matter, going to talk video games here for a little bit. So, but the Battle Royale as a genre, right, and takes its name from the Japanese film Battle Royale, which is you throw a bunch of people into a confined space like an island or a complex or something, and the last person to walk out of there alive wins. Pioneered in the video game space, kind of with, I think the one that really made it take off, even though they weren't the first ones to do it, was PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. It is a video game where you, by yourself or as a team of up to 4 people, basically compete to stay alive the longest. And there are mechanisms in the game that kind of force you along to make sure that you are kind of fighting people and not just hiding the whole game. But anyway.
The most common is the map shrinks as the game goes on. Yeah, to force you towards the center or towards where everybody is.
Basically facilitates combat. Now, I think that ever since that became such kind of an overnight sensation kind of hit, there have been a lot of other companies, major and minor, from indies all the way to AAA game studios like EA, who have made Battle Royale games, right? And I think that, I don't know if the market is saturated per se, but I think people are basically going to play games like Fortnite or Apex Legends, and Battlegrounds still has a pretty good following too. But I stumbled upon today what I think might be the most fun Battle Royale game that I've ever played, and that is Battle Royale Super Mario Brothers.
Okay, so I saw you tweet this earlier this evening.
Mm-hmm.
I tried it out. Either A, I am horrible, or I don't know what is going on. So please explain this to me.
Okay, so take everything I just said, which is staying alive the longest. So what Battle Royale Super Mario Brothers is you are playing Mario Brothers with up to 99 other people, and the goal is to basically be the last person alive playing Mario. So you can have turtle shells, and you can collect coins and 1-ups and everything. But the goal is to basically move through, I think it might be a procedurally generated board, and basically just stay alive the longest in a game of Mario Brothers. And I got to tell you, you can play with a keyboard. I think you can play it with a gamepad. I'm not sure. But I tried playing it just with my keyboard, and it's a lot of fun. Now, full disclosure, Nintendo doesn't like when people steal or use their IP without their permission, so I don't know if by the time this podcast comes out, we'll see a takedown notice, because I know that a lot of major video game outlets have basically picked up on this story and have been talking about it today. So I don't expect this thing to live on much longer. So if it is out there by the time this podcast comes out, you should go try it, because it's actually a pretty interesting feat of video game nostalgia / current events. The other one I want to call your attention to is, if you own a Nintendo Switch, you can play Tetris 99, which lets you play Tetris against 99 other people simultaneously. And it's the same thing. Last person kind of alive in the Tetris game also wins. So if you're down for some classic gaming and you want to experience what all the youth are into these days with Battle Royale, I can't recommend those enough, especially the Mario one, because that's just really freaking clever. I can't believe no one thought of that until now.
I was reading the other day that I think it was the actual creator of Tetris likes playing Tetris 99 online. So you never know, you could be playing with the actual creator of Tetris. I thought it was pretty cool.
But I forget the person's name. But the question is, are they any good?
I would hope so. Yeah. But yeah, you never know. It's two different skills, right? Building the game and playing the game.
Yeah, exactly. I find as I get older, I find that I'm way better at creating things than using things. But that's just me. Anyway, the Mario one's pretty cool. I highly recommend you check it out if it's still up. So I stumbled on that today in the afternoon, and I tried it after work today, and man, it's just so freaking clever. So freaking clever. Oh, let's see. I have follow-up for my iPhone case that I talked about last podcast.
Oh, I can't wait. How is the iPhone case, Drew?
I have another iPhone case.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nothing against the other one. It was a really good case, really protective. But the thing about clear cases is they really show smudges, and I'm a relatively gross human, so my fingerprints were all over that thing front and back. So I was like, man, I really can't do this. So I went super thin on my iPhone case. And this time I went with and we'll put a link in show notes, I went with the thin iPhone XR case. It is from a company called Totally, Totally. I got it in navy blue. And when I opened this thing, it came in... Oh, how can I describe this? It looked like it came in like a single-use like Clorox wipe pack. Like it was like a sealed little package.
Wow.
And when I opened it up, there is literally nothing to this case. It could not be thinner. There is no way this thing survives a drop with this thing on it. It is essentially the smallest, thinnest shell I can have on this iPhone, and still, I think, technically call it a case. It will protect against scratches, and it won't show the smudges and the fingerprints on the back of it, which is nice. And I got the navy blue one, which lets a little bit of the color through and leaves some spaces around things like the camera opening and the volume up and down, and you can still see some of the blue buttons and things through it. So it's a nice aesthetic. And it doesn't kind of give you the bulge and the bulk of a regular case, so there's that. But... no, if I drop this thing on the pavement, it's toast. This case will do nothing. This case will do nothing for that.
So why not just live the case-free lifestyle?
So here's the thing. With this iPhone XR, it is incredibly hard to hold on to.
Got it.
It's like
the glass black makes it real slippy.
Yes. I think if I had gone with the aluminum back or this... Wait, I forget. The XS, is that aluminum or steel?
I think they're all glass now. Because of the Qi charging, the wireless charging. You can't do that through aluminum without causing major heat issues. So, yeah, they use glass.
Yeah, it's really slippery. And, like, if you're like me and you set your phone on the couch with you while you're watching TV or something, glass really slides well on fabric. So it's constantly falling off the couch or falling between the cushions. So I wanted something that wasn't going to move quite as much. And I think this one slides a little bit more than that other case that I mentioned last podcast. But it's just minimal protection. I don't want to see fingerprints. We're going to try this one out. I fully expect to have purchased another case by the time we record the next episode. But this could be a recurring thing. What case am I buying this week? And here's the thing. Here's the crazy thing. So the first case I bought, the clear one, right? Mm-hmm. Very solid, very protective, very highly rated by the Wirecutter, was $12. Okay, how much do you think that this case, which again you barely meets the base criteria of a phone case, how much do you think it cost?
I would guess probably around the same price, like $10 to $15.
Twice as much. $25.
$25.
$25.
I guess you paid for the thinness.
No, I didn't. I'll tell you what I paid for was all the excess packaging on this thing because it came in a box. It came in a box that had another box. It was like one of those little slidey boxes, which then had a plastic thing enclosed in it that was like a Ziploc thing that you had to tear the top up and then open like it was like it was a pack of beef jerky, and that's what it was inside with. So,
I enjoy a good unboxing though.
For what this thing was, very wasteful packaging. I get it. Maybe I don't. I don't know. Get off my lawn. But still, it's like, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So, as of this week, that's what's on the phone. We'll see if it stays that way. You are a no case person, or you still have the leather case, right?
No, I have the Apple leather case. Though I've had this phone for almost 2 years now, and the leather case just does not hold up for the entire time. The leather kind of like pulls, like it's coming off on the corners and it's getting kind of like mealy looking.
I think the word is patina. On Daddy's iPhone, right? On my personal iPhone, right? I also have the Apple leather case, and I went with the tan leather, and it has held up really well. Now I only take it in and out of my pocket and set it on things. It doesn't necessarily bang around in a bag, or it doesn't. I don't throw it places where it gets scratched up too much. But I mean, the case has seen some abuse, but my corners are holding up pretty well. It seems to be doing okay for me.
Yeah, mine is. I probably shouldn't be using it anymore. The leather's just coming off on the corners, but I'm just kind of holding out to fall, get whatever the new hotness is, get a case for that. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm ready. I'm ready for new phone. Give it to me, Apple. Sell me something expensive. And I honestly, I think this fall I'm going to be upgrading 3 phones, probably all at the same time.
Wow.
And that's going to hurt. Yeah.
Okay, so which 3? So you?
So myself, my wife, she's had her phone for a couple of years, and my son as well. He got his first phone a couple of years for his birthday, and he's done exceptionally well. He's hasn't dropped it, hasn't broke it. If he goes somewhere, he brings it. I can reach him, so he's being really responsible with it. So I think he'll get a new phone. I think he's actually eligible. His birthday's coming up here in a few days, so I think he's eligible real soon. But I'll probably convince him to wait till fall and let's just see what they come out with.
Yeah, your son. Knowing what I know about your son, he seems like he would respect and treat technology just like his dad does.
Yeah,
so
he tries. He tries. Yeah.
yeah. So what are you getting for his birthday?
He is getting a set of AirPods. I know.
God, I love those things.
Yeah, I do too. And he hardly ever asks for anything for Christmas or his birthdays. It makes it kind of difficult. But this year he's like, heck yeah, I kind of like a pair of AirPods. I'm like, done. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. So they're actually sitting right here on my desk in the box. So I'll wrap it up here real soon, and he'll get those on Monday.
Nice.
Yep.
How old is he turning?
He will be 13.
My goodness, Paul, you have a
Officially,
teenager.
I know. Officially a teenager. He just started golf lessons, which is kind of exciting. But
Really?
yeah. Yeah,
So
well,
wait,
mom, okay.
No, go ahead.
So, he used to do jujitsu, but after some health-related stuff, we really couldn't do that anymore. So mom has been pushing him to do some extracurricular stuff, and he's doing band in school because he doesn't have a choice. Basically, you pick something or I'll pick something for you, and mom picked band. He plays trumpet. He's actually enjoying it better. We got him private lessons. He's doing pretty well, but mom wants him to play a sport as well. So we go to school. Our school district has a golf team that starts at 6th grade. So he's never played golf before. And that was the option he hated the least. So mom went out and found him a private golf instructor. He's taken some lessons. We recently bought him his first set of clubs. So yeah, we'll see where that goes.
Wow.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I have never swung a golf club in my life. That's not true. I have swung a golf club once. I'm not counting putt-putt, because that doesn't count. That's not golf.
No, that's not.
No.
Yeah, I've tried to golf a few times in my life. You know what it is? I'm not good at it, which already kind of sets me off my beer a little bit, and I don't necessarily want to do it, but it just takes too long.
Yeah.
If you're out there on the course with 3 or 4 other people, I mean, even if you play 9, you're out there, you're invested a few hours, and I get it. You're outside, and people who like being outside, that's great for them. But being the avid indoorsman that I am, it's just that's not my thing, and it's extremely frustrating. That little ball never goes where you want it to go.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I don't know how it works and how they hit the ball that straight and that far, and yeah, we'll see how he goes. He's taking a handful of lessons and. Yeah,
but he's digging it, right?
So far, yeah. I think it's one of those things when you start something, you're kind of skeptical, but you start seeing those little bits of improvements, and you're getting better, and then that becomes fun. So I think he's right on that part. It's getting fun for him.
Yeah. Now, I forget. Is your son older or younger than your daughter?
He is older. My daughter will be turning 10 this summer.
Okay, for some reason I knew that, but I wasn't totally sure.
Yep.
So now does she do the sports or the band or anything like that?
So she plays soccer, couple seasons every year. She really enjoys it. But she's kind of getting to the point where, like, they don't have band yet, or they don't have choir, but she's determined that she's going to be in the show choir. So good for her.
Yeah, when I was in middle school, there was a clear fork in the road of you either take home ec or shop or choir or band, right? Like,
yeah, we had the same thing.
You went industrial arts / home ec or choir / band. And like, that's what it was. Or if you didn't, or if you totally had given up at that point, you could do study hall. But like a lot of kids did either one of those things. And I went choir just because a lot of the friends that I had went choir. And I did that all through middle school. Didn't do it in high school until later on. I did other stuff. And then in high school, I played tennis. That was the one sport that I played.
Nice.
Yeah, couldn't play hockey at the time. But I did. The closest I got to playing hockey in high school was I was the team statistician. Yeah.
Mr. Clipboard.
I was literally Mr. Clipboard. But I had a lot of friends on the team that played and everything. And then I played tennis for about, I think I was able to get on the team my sophomore year, and I played all the way through my senior year, I think. Oh no, I did not play my senior year because I was working. I got a job and then wasn't able to play tennis anymore. But I tried swimming, but that didn't take. Yeah.
Ugh. No, I was in band from 5th grade all the way through my senior year of high school. So, yeah.
Ooh,
I was a band nerd. I was a percussionist.
Ah, that makes sense.
Does it?
Well, I mean, the metal thing and the drums thing.
Yeah, I like drums.
And see, circle back for a second, right? When we talked about the metal thing, one of the things you pointed out specifically was how much you love the drumming.
I do. Yep.
So I feel like
fast, it's complicated, it's heavy. Yeah.
And see, that's the thing, right? I feel like you can appreciate that more than me, who doesn't know a darn thing about drumming, right? Like, I feel like that kind of gives you a deeper appreciation for the music that I might not necessarily have. I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible.
I don't know. Well, that's cool. Good for him. I'm sure he's really going to like the AirPods, which I think he'll probably get them before this comes out. So,
yeah, probably.
Well, hopefully he won't get the podcast notification and then listen to it. And then
he doesn't care about the podcast one bit. My daughter, she's still real excited, but Zach, he doesn't care. He'd rather be playing Fortnite and Roblox on his computer than listen to his dad talk. So,
the next question I was going to ask was, did he listen to your thoughts on his hobbies?
No. Nope. I'm waiting for that, but it hasn't happened.
Okay. Probably better off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what though? I mean, being 13, he probably knows, hey, I asked mom and dad for AirPods. I'm probably going to get AirPods, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's a surprise, but it's not a surprise.
Right. He knows what's coming.
Yeah. I get that. I distinctly remember those years where it was like I kind of picked up on, hey, if I ask for something specifically, I might get it. So I understand how that works.
Yeah, and as they get older, like when they're little, you can buy them like lots of inexpensive toys, but like he doesn't play with toys anymore. So usually he gets one big thing. Yeah, which is fine.
Now, was it last year that he built the computer?
Oh, geez. Yeah. Last year for his birthday, we built him his gaming PC.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And that's
it's still
going
up? Strong. Oh, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Good for Zach. I'm happy for him. Okay. So I made a conscious life decision this week. And that's that I finally have mustered up the strength to shave my own head.
Okay, so before this, were you paying somebody else to shave your head for you?
Yeah, so it's so weird. You knew me when I had a head of hair.
Yes.
Yeah, and I always had a thin spot on the back of my head, but like once I hit like 33, the thinning just kind of took off to the point where, it was thin, then it was really thin, and then I had a bald spot. And then like I started getting my hair cut in such a way that like my hair was pretty short and you really couldn't tell too much unless you looked at me like from like the top of a staircase. And then it just kind of like really accelerated. And by the time I turned 35, 36, like it was like, all right, I really got to start doing something to keep my head kind of short. I went to a buzz cut probably almost 2 years ago now, and I was keeping it relatively short, and I was going to a barber for that because the thing of it is, like, if you're using clippers on your head, if you miss a spot, you notice, right? And I don't trust myself to use clippers on my head unassisted and not get every single spot. So I never tried to do that on my own. I just started going to like basically a fancier version of Supercuts that they call a barbershop, and just having somebody clipper my head for $16 and, using a zero, no guard, basically taking care of it for me.
Just buzzing it right off.
Just buzzing it off, just getting it as close as they could. And the last time I had this done was a couple weeks ago, and the person who cut my hair, I told him, I'm like, hey, I don't necessarily want to pay you to shave my head because it's like literally double the cost and time. Can you just get it as close as you can? And they said to me, yeah, no problem. So what they did is they clippered my hair, and it had grown quite a bit. So they clippered it down, and then they took another like small electric razor, like the kind you would use on your face, only kind of scaled up. And it was a really cool shaver, which I'll get to in a minute. It was like one you kind of held in like the palm of your hand, like almost like you would hold like a baseball if you were throwing a knuckleball. So like, imagine like your knuckles kind of curled up and you kind of hold on to this thing, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it was actually big. And then like the head of it was like, have you ever seen, I don't know how to describe this, but like the electric razors that kind of have like the circular head or more than one circular head, and you would use that on like your face or your beard?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
So it was like three of those, kind of arranged like in a triangle pattern to where like if you pressed on it, it had a little give, so it would kind of conform to your head. So they took it and they like kind of ran it over my head a few times, and they for all intent and purpose shaved it. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I thought, that's what I look like with absolutely no hair. So that was late last week, and my hair started growing back. And I kind of got used to the fact that this is what my head looks like shaved. So it was starting to grow back to the point where if I was going to start shaving it myself, I was going to have to just kind of do it, because if I let it grow any further, I would have to clipper it before I shave it. You know what I mean? Like shaving your head with, grown out hair is just kind of a recipe for disaster, right? So I was in the shower earlier this week, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. Now, I have invested over the years in a nice kind of shaving apparatuses for my face. So I have a nice safety razor, but I was like, you know what? That's probably a little too high speed for my first head shaving. So I have some disposable razors under my sink that I save for like travel occasions, where I don't necessarily want to take a razor blade on a plane, so I'll just throw a sealed one of those in my suitcase. So I busted one of those bad boys out, and the first difficulty was, do I use shampoo to shave my head or shaving cream to shave my head? So because
where did you end up on that?
I wound up with just shaving cream. So I had a little bit of stubble around my head where the hair would grow and where it wouldn't. So I went with shaving cream. So I kind of like just threw some shaving cream up there. I didn't wash it first, which, my head was, I didn't have enough hair to fully justify using shampoo because it would have done nothing. But then again, soap would have been weird. So I was just like, I'm just going to go for it. So lathered up, took my disposable razor and just kind of started going after it. And it went surprisingly well. I didn't nick myself or anything. And I just kind of did the best job that I could do, and I didn't miss any major spots. But I could tell that like there were places like around my ears that I didn't get close enough. And like the back of my neck, I didn't go low enough. So, kind of as a first pass, if this is like an iterative deployment of shaving my head, like that was a good first pass, right? Like version 2 was going to be better. So watched a lot of YouTube videos about this, as one does when you're trying to figure out how to handle something. And I ended up making another investment.
So there is multiple videos about how to shave your head on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, just like everything else, right?
Okay,
Like you could do it. You could do it as a total novice and be fine, but like you want to do it right? So I just kind of did it. And I watched a few YouTube videos, and a lot of them, basically, one of the key pieces of advice that they give you is you want a razor blade with a rotating head that can conform to your head a little bit better. Because what will invariably happen is, being gross humans, our heads are full of bumps and malformities, and calyxes, and right? Like you want something that can conform to your head a little bit and give you a nice even shave all over. So one of the kind of key things you want to invest in here is a razor with a semi-movable head. And you can do this with a regular razor that you get like at Target or something. But I'm always up for spending some money. So I invested in a little razor that you basically kind of like, you almost wear it like a ring. And it's like one end is a razor, and I'll put a link to the thing that I bought in the show notes. But the other is has like a little ball that kind of reminds me of like a ball bearing. And except it's plastic, not metal. And like you kind of wear this thing on your hand, and you kind of hold it like you would like a little utensil, and you just kind of run it over your head. So it's got some resistance and some give to it. So it kind of goes over your head, and you can basically it's like a little head Zamboni, where you just kind of like run it over your head. You just kind of run it over your head, and it just kind of gives you a nice even shave from front to back, and then you can like reverse it in your hand and go back to front and get your neck. And it's gone very well. It's just really weird to use what amounts to almost like a Matchbox car on your head, because it's got little wheels. You can get one with wheels. I have one with a little ball, but you can get one with wheels, and you just kind of run it over your head. And so now it's just a matter of kind of upkeep, right? So in the shower every day, I just kind of do kind of a once over relatively quickly within the margin of safety that you can do these things in. Where I just kind of go over my head a few times with this, and it just kind of works. So I'm going to keep it going. It's going pretty good, but this has opened up new avenues for me. So one of the things that I've had to do is start putting lotion on my head.
Right,
and
got to keep it moisturized.
Yeah, so this isn't that big of a deal in the summertime, but even when I was just getting my head buzzed, I noticed that my scalp was flaking a little bit in the winter. So I've just been using some off-the-shelf kind of just regular lotion to moisturize my head. Very emollient? Emollient? How do you say that word?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know how to say that word, but my scalp is very soft. It's very fun to touch. Everybody rubs it for good luck. So I like the attention, and I don't look totally terrible. I think I look better. Yeah, I'm comfortable in saying that I definitely look better with my head shaved than I did with a buzz cut or back when I was just trying to hold on to the hair that I had. So I've embraced it. I've kind of arrived at my final destination of where my hair is probably going to be for the rest of my life, and this is me now.
So you have to touch it up every morning or every day?
I think I could probably go a day.
Okay.
Like, how like if you shave, well, you're a big, strong, virile man full of testosterone, so you probably go facial hair faster than I do. But I
doubt
can usually I can go like a day without shaving my face, and you get a little bit of like a little 5 o'clock shadow. My head's kind of like that. I could probably go a day. But any more than that, like I'm going to have to give it a pretty good once over in the I'd have to go a little bit longer in the shower. And from everything I've read and everything I've watched on YouTube is that if you go 3 or 4 days, you really can't shave it anymore. You got to clipper it first.
Makes sense.
Because just like shaving your face, where unless you use like a really sharp razor, if you were to use like a wire razor or just like a Gillette or something, you're going to be tugging more hair than you are shaving it, and that's going to just cause you all kinds of bumps and probably give you a lot of rashes and stuff. So the goal is just to kind of keep up on it. And the fact that it's really smooth right now, like I said, I can go over it pretty quickly in the shower where I don't have to spend too much time. So, but if there's anybody out there listening to the podcast who uses lotion on their scalp, I'm definitely looking for good suggestions, because I want something that has a pretty decent scent to it, but it's not too overpowering. You know, I don't know. I'm looking for good suggestions for scalp oil or scalp lotion.
Now, see, I'm the opposite. I want to do the least amount of work possible with my hair and my facial hair. So I have a short little beard. I trim it once a week. Sometimes, if I'm really lazy, once every other week. And I haven't had a haircut, I think, going on a year and a half. So my hair's getting pretty long.
Now, see, you are the opposite of me in many ways because you are so tall and you are so handsome, and your hair is amazing. So for those of you that have never met Paul, Paul has a very luscious head of hair, and my favorite version of your hair is when you tie it back in your little ponytail.
That's happening more frequently now. Yeah, it's getting longer. It's thick. It's curly. It's summer. So, like, having long hair makes your neck sweat. Like, I didn't pull it back up beforehand, and my neck is just damp right now from my hair, keeping it nice and warm. Yeah.
Good old damp neck. I don't know what that's like. I will say that it is, the one weird thing about shaving my head is that if you're a slightly chubbier person like myself, you get those little folds in the back of your head, so if I look up, I can feel the little baby folds in my head.
Yeah.
And I bet you if I'm working out, I'll get some pretty nasty stuff trapped in those little folds. But yeah, your hair is amazing. One of my favorite looks for you is the look I lovingly refer to as VC Paul, or venture capitalist Paul.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Paul look when you totally slick all that back.
Yeah.
You definitely got the angel investor look about you.
Yeah, someone at work calls me Paul Seagal when I have my hair back.
Paul Seagal.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Of course, you look way better than Steven Seagal if you haven't looked at him recently.
No. Well, yeah, I prefer the young, virile Seagal, Steven Seagal. So that's how I would choose to remember him.
Like Fire Down Below,
yeah,
Steven Seagal.
Exactly, yeah.
Executive Order, Steven Seagal.
Yeah, he's the action hero, you know?
Yeah, those were good days. Yeah, so that's my life now. I'm going to try to keep it going and see how it looks. Yeah, I haven't been out in the sun very much. So when I had really thin hair, I got sunburn in part of my scalp, and I remember the first time I ever burned my scalp badly. It hurt. So I'm going to have to be extra careful being out of doors. I did some outside work today. At lunch and then after work, because we got a wag of the finger from the homeowners association about our siding.
Oh,
yeah. There's parts of our house that don't get enough sun, so we had to be fair,
fading.
ours. Yeah, so our house wasn't the only one that got a wag of the finger. So we had to basically power wash our siding. But it's been cloudy and rainy here all week, so it hasn't been a big deal. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm having some damp basement issues, and that's not a euphemism or metaphor. Yeah, we have the way our house is situated. Whenever we get these really heavy rains, man, I can actually hear the water running over my gutters, and it's ending up on my basement floor, in the unfinished part of my basement, but still.
Ugh.
So I'm having a nice man who knows how to fix gutters come out and take a look at that tomorrow.
Yeah, water. It'll go. It goes where it wants.
It does go where it wants. Yeah, it has been a constant struggle at our house to get good, reliable water, or get good, reliable means to get water away from our house. Has been a struggle ever since we lived here. When we first moved in, we had this basement window that just leaked like crazy. And that's before we replaced our gutters and everything. But water would end up in the well of this window, and it was like a really old window. I think it was original when the house was built in the 80s, and it had like a wood frame that had shrunk and contorted and warped over the years. So literally water would just run through it. And we ripped that out and replaced that with a glass block window, which solved that problem. But now the water just moves from there and goes other places.
I've had other issues with my homes, but water has not been one of them. I've been pretty lucky so far.
Yeah, you've had some doozies, though.
Yeah, I have other things. Maybe that's a topic for a future podcast.
I do enjoy that story. I do enjoy that story.
Oh, it's a doozy.
Yeah, we'll put that on the list for next time. Yeah.
So speaking of stories, I want to tell you a story.
Okay.
So, I am a man of fine taste. I like the nice things in life. So every once in a while, I want a corn dog. I just do. I'm not proud of it. a lot of times there's frozen corn dogs in our freezer ready to go. So the other night, I was like, you know what? I want a corn dog. So I pull out the box, and you know what the box is like. These are State Farm corn dogs, the top of the line, all beef. The box is one of those, like, it's cheap. It's that waxy kind of cardboard, so it doesn't, it resists moisture and doesn't get ruined in the freezer. So I open it up, and, it's got one of those little, tabs. It's like, so it folds back in itself, and the lid closes. Barely, but it closes. So I pull out a corn dog, I put it on a plate. I'm like, I wonder how long I need to microwave this for. It's been a while. I forget. So I'm turning the box, looking for the directions. And I find it. I find the directions, and I'm excited. So I tilt the box up and point the instructions at my eye so I can read them. Unfortunately, the instructions happen to be on the side opposite of the opening. So I look at the instructions, I tilt the box, and then there is just this horrible noise as all of the corn dogs spill out the bottom of the box onto my kitchen floor. Now, I'm not sure why they put the instructions on the opposite side of the box opening, but it really infuriated me. That was the wrong place to put the instructions. They had 6 other sides they could have used, but no, they chose this one.
So basically, you were trying to outthink the box.
The box outthought me, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's where I was going next. So box 1, Paul 0.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I got to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever had a corn dog. Period.
You're missing out. I mean,
am I though?
No. I mean, to be completely honest, for me, hot dogs and corn dogs are really an excuse to put mustard on something. I love a good mustard, kind of a spicy mustard. So that's really what I do is I get a corn dog, I cover it in mustard, I eat it. I don't have a lot of, not like I'm eating corn dogs every night. It's a treat. I have more in the freezer because, the kids are home, it's summer. And sometimes as a parent, you're like, I don't want to feed you. Just eat whatever you want. And,
okay.
The corn dogs are easy. You put them in the microwave, boom, you're ready to go.
Okay. So, now I'm going to describe to you what I think a corn dog is, and you keep me honest here. All right.
Okay.
So, having never had one, I have imagined that corn dogs are essentially a hot dog.
Yep.
Right?
You're absolutely right.
Okay, so I'm on the right track. And then it has some sort of breading on it, right?
Yes.
Now, is the breading? I'm assuming that it is, Latin corn, right? The preface here it comes from the corn dog from the Latin of whatever corn dog is. The breading, is it made of corn? Is it a corn-based breading? Is it cornbread itself?
I believe it's similar to cornbread. It is corn-based. Cornmeal. Cornmeal is the primary ingredient of the batter for. So it's corn-related products.
Okay, now setting aside the frozen processed corn dog that you were attempting to make before you spilled them all on the floor.
Gloriously.
If I were to go to a place that has good corn dogs, right?
I'm not sure that place exists, but
okay, but hold on, like fresh out the oven corn or whatever they're birthed in, right?
Well, it turns out they're usually deep fried.
Okay, so deep fried hot dogs dipped in something. I'm going to assume that this happens at outdoor fairsy / carny type places, right?
Exactly.
Or a sporting event. Someplace that has the means and the time and the effort to make a lot of money on them will probably make you one fresh. Yeah. That's what I'm after here, right?
Yes,
if you were going to get one fresh. Okay, so that's a fresh one, right? But if you're going to make one at home, is the microwave the best choice? Or can you do a microwave oven type thing? Or are there other way, or an actual oven to get more of a crispy versus soggy thing? Or when you make these in the microwave, do they actually come out kind of crispy?
So, no, they're not crispy. They're very mushy. I could put them in the toaster oven, but let's be honest. when you decide that you're going to have a corn dog, you've already made one bad decision. You just have. So you really just want the corn dog as fast as possible. And you can go from wanting a corn dog to eating a corn dog in about a minute. And that's a good amount of time. Like, you don't have time to think about it, to regret your decisions or overthink it. You're just like, boom, plate, microwave, beep. For me, mustard, consuming. Done.
Okay. So mustard being the key component for you.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're out of the package. Are they on a stick?
Oh, of course. Because what's a corn dog? That's the key part of the corn dog is the stick that runs through the entire end of the hot dog, so you can hold it. Yeah.
I mean,
you can do. Pick it up with your hands like an animal.
What you're essentially doing is you're substituting the bun for the breading, right? So
absolutely.
I mean, you can't just. This isn't like a contest where you're trying to like dip them in water and swallow them whole. You still want to enjoy that. You still want to enjoy that breading.
Yeah. It's tasty.
Okay, let's continue down this rabbit hole. Best corn dog you've ever had? Where?
Oh, any state fair, really. The best corn dog is the one you get that's fresh, where they dip it in the batter, they shove it in the deep fryer, and you get it, and it's it's hot. It's a little crispy on the outside. Yeah. So the fresh one's right from the deep fryer.
Okay. Now, because I'm a rube, right? So if you were working or you are attending a state fair, I guess, and you wanted to have a corn dog, I'm assuming that the act of frying the corn dog cooks the hot dog underneath, right?
I would hope. Yeah.
Like, you don't cook the hot dog first and then dip it. That would be inefficient, right? Like, if you want to make the best use of your time, are you gonna bread the dog and then just dip it in the fryer and you're good to go?
So I vaguely remember is they kind of cook the hot dogs beforehand, and they have them on that, those magical rolly things that keeps the hot dog from being in one place too long and burning. So the hot dogs are constantly spinning. They grab one, jam a stick in it, dump it in batter, fry it, and you're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now,
it's not complicated. They're corn dogs.
Okay, but can you overdo it? Like, have you seen corn dogs go bad?
I imagine you could overcook a corn dog. I have never.
No. I'm not just overcooking a corn dog, because like overcooking a corn dog's a mistake. Like making a conscious decision to tamper with breading plus hot dog. Like, can you like substitute, like, instead of, could you put something other than a hot dog in there on purpose and call it a corn dog? Or like, could you mess with the breading formula? Like, could you do it with Oreos? Like, I'm saying, like, could you?
I don't mess with a good thing. When I want a corn dog, I just want a plain run-of-the-mill corn dog. But I mean, I guess you could get creative. I don't know what you would do. I guess you could put things in the batter. Maybe, make it more like dough-like, more like a donut or a pancake.
Right.
I mean, I guess they do make those, like pancakes, like a bacon. No, hot dog wrapped in a pancake. That's a thing, right?
I mean, essentially, that's what a pig in a blanket is, right? Or
exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
You know what I want to see? I want to see someone have the courage to make pierogies out of hot dogs. Someone needs to do that. If someone does that, I'll eat it. I mean, I understand pierogies are onion and potatoes, but like, what if instead of onions, you had noodles and hot dogs?
I'm down. Sounds terrific.
Yeah. So there's a lot I don't know about corn dogs, man, and I'm really sorry for your loss.
Yeah, it was a rough day.
I think it's one of those teachable moments.
Yeah. You got to be careful with those boxes, or your corn dogs will be on the floor.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the story probably has a happy ending. Did you eventually get your corn dog?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Now, one more thing before we put a pin in this discussion. Are there local restaurants that you know of or are a patron of that serve good corn dogs?
I do not, but that's a good point. There's got to be a food truck somewhere in Columbus.
No. Not even. I'm sure there's a food truck. I'm talking about, like, I don't know. Like, it's been years since I've been in an O'Charlie's, but like, if I was going to say who has corn dogs, I feel like that'd be a good candidate.
Well, you know what? That's a good point. Steak. My son will often get the mini corn dogs at Steak and Shake.
What is a mini corn dog?
Okay, so
I mean, I understand mini, mini from the Latin of smaller, but like, or whatever the root there is. But like, is it just corn dogs without a stick and more bite size? Like someone quartered the hot dog?
Exactly. So they're small little, like almost Vienna sausage size hot dogs wrapped in the batter, no stick. So a quick Google search has led me to this Foursquare article titled "The 15 Best Places for Corn Dogs in Columbus." So I'm going to go ahead and put
drop that in show
I'm going to put that in the show notes. I would never expect that there would be 15, let alone some place you would call the best.
I have so many questions. So taking a couple steps back for a minute. So you said instead of hot dogs, small Vienna sausages. I guess I don't understand the difference at what point a hot dog becomes a sausage, or vice versa. And two, at what point do hot dogs become Little Smokies? LIL'.
I think Little Smokies is all about that weird goo that they live in. But
I've had the Little Smokies outside of the goo.
That's true. So, I have been told that so obviously hot dogs, they're just miscellaneous parts, but Vienna sausage is even more so. It's like I have heard stories of it literally being the pieces they sweep off of the butcher floor, goes in, becomes a pink slime, and then boom, Vienna sausages. So I am perusing this article, and number 1, number 3, number 6 are all Roosters, various different Roosters restaurants.
It makes sense. All right, hold on. We got to pull up the Roosters menu. So digga.
So whoever wrote this kind of just like, we'll put Roosters in here 3 times. Who will notice?
Yeah, no, they'll never get onto us. All right, I'm on the menu for Roosters. View menu. Okay, here, appetizers, chicken fingers. Okay, so let's start with the kids menu. I feel like if we're gonna find it,
it'd be the kids menu.
Okay, mini corn dogs.
There
mini corn dogs is on the kids menu. Okay, so let's do pickup party menu. Garden salad. Who gets a Caesar salad at Roosters? Okay, mini corn dogs with mustard. Okay, so they're speaking your language here. So mini corn dogs with mustard. You can get foil pans, oven ready for reheating. You got to cook it yourself, I guess. Okay, so kids menu and party pickup menu were good. Let's go with appetizers here. Appetizers. Mini corn dog.
Yeah, according to this review, get the mini corn dogs in an order of traditional wings. Fantastic. Smiley face. There you go.
Okay. All right, so we need to plan an official Doing Their Best podcast field trip to Roosters, and we're going to celebrate the first time I'm ever going to eat a corn dog.
I will record that for prosperity.
Posterity.
Same thing. Close enough.
Yeah. Posterior. All right.
It's all mouth noises.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna go to Roosters because if I'm being honest, right? Like I'll try the corn dogs even if I hate them. I can get good wings at Roosters.
Exactly.
I feel like that could be another topic as we talk about where we like There's a thing on the menu called dumpster chips.
They are terrific.
Dumpster chips. Who wants to think about garbage on a menu?
Yeah, but they're just taking a little bit of everything and throwing them on there. I think it's got like cheese and bacon and jalapenos and nacho cheese, of course, because I mean, nacho cheese. Like, come on.
Okay, I'm looking at the map of Roosters locations. I didn't know that Roosters was. I guess you're going to call this a regional chain because it looks like there's quite a few in Ohio.
Yeah.
There's a couple in Kentucky, and there's at least one in West Virginia.
Yeah, for those of you who don't have a Roosters, they're it's a wing joint. It's a sports bar, and they serve chicken wings. That's what they do. And apparently, mini corn dogs. See, my game at Roosters is always getting the boneless wings and bacon cheese tater tots. They are phenomenal. Not good for you at all, but
I've only ever had the wings there. I've never had anything but wings at Roosters.
We have to fix that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we need to do that. I'd be down for that. Well, I feel like you went through the entire hero arc with your corn dog story, and I was invested from start to finish. Act 1, you climbed the tree to get the apples. Act 2, you got stuck in the tree trying to get down with the apples. Act 3, you got the apples thrown at you from people on the ground, and then in Act 4, you emerged triumphant from the tree.
Yes.
So I feel like you definitely ticked all those boxes. So
Absolutely.
I'm really proud of you. Yeah, you did your best. Okay. Okay. Shifting gears for a second. We already talked about video games here a little bit. But I don't. You have a Switch. I'm gonna ask you to check out, if you haven't already, a new game that just came out called Bloodstained.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because I could go down a really big rabbit hole here. But so Bloodstained is a game loosely based on the Castlevania series that started out in Nintendo and Famicom and all those different consoles. I remember one of the very first games I played on Nintendo when I was young, when Nintendo first came out, was Castlevania. It might have been the second or third game I ever played. My cousin was the first person to get a Nintendo in our family, and he had Castlevania. I immediately fell in love with it. It was very gothic. It's got vampires, cool story, Simon Belmont, all that stuff. There's this whole kind of thing where one of the people responsible for creating or working on Castlevania when Konami was making Castlevania games kind of split from Konami, went on his own, raised a bunch of money on Kickstarter, and Bloodstained is the outcome of that. And it is a game that harkens back to a particular style of Castlevania games. The parlance that people use online, or people who play video games, will refer to them as a Metroidvania, wherein it is a game where you explore a giant map and you have to basically go through there, fight monsters, you get equipment that changes how you play, unlocks new abilities, you kind of backtrack through previous sections where maybe you couldn't get past before. You get what I'm going for there.
Backtracking is a very big part of Metroidvania games. Now, me personally, I was more on the Metroid part of that than Castlevania. I played a few Castlevania games, but I grew up playing Metroid. That was my introduction to the genre.
Yep. And same, right? Because, traditionally, Metroid was more of the adventure game where you have a board where you progress start to finish in a certain amount of time. Just basically, you play through the board, then you fight a boss. It wasn't until games like Symphony of the Night came out, which is still to this day one of my very favorite video games, not just because it's a Castlevania game, but because it's just a really good video game with a really good soundtrack and really good artwork and really deep gameplay if you really start looking at it. This harkens back to that, which is more in the Metroid formula, right? So Bloodstained just came out. It very much scratches that itch. It's extremely well polished. I'm enjoying it so far. I haven't played a game like this in a while, right? Typically when I sit down to play a video game, I will play more of a strategy simulation type game or a first-person shooter or third-person shooter. This is the first time I've played a platformer in a little while, and man, am I rusty. I just want to give it a quick plug. I did not back it on Kickstarter. I should have, because the people responsible for this game deserve my money. It's worth checking out. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm actually playing it on Xbox, which we can talk about why I own an Xbox again in another podcast. I'm not going to have time to get into that today, but I'm really enjoying it so far. If you want a good game to play that's pretty fun, it's a little overwhelming with the amount of stuff they kind of throw at you in this game, because they basically just took Symphony of the Night and cranked it to about 11.
So it's very difficult then.
Well, okay, so...
Or challenging.
It's challenging for me because... how do I say this? I'm just not good at it. Like, I'll own up to that. Like, I'm not good at it. Like, I have fought 2 of the bosses so far, and a lot of my friends are already kind of getting close to being done with the game. I actually threw a controller last night because I beat the second boss of the game, and I wanted to run back and save my game. So I beat the room that had the second boss in it, and I exited the room, And when I got out of the room, I noticed that there was not a save point in the immediate vicinity, and I was like, oh crap, there was one room back. But when you exit and re-enter a room, the enemies respawn. And my health was low. I did not have anything to heal myself with. I literally got to the door right before I got to the save room, and I got shot by an arrow and died. So I lost. It had taken me probably a dozen tries to beat this boss. I just threw the controller off my couch, and I'm like, that's it, I'm done. I'm done for tonight.
Wow.
So I have to beat that boss again, which I'm not convinced I'll be able to do on the first try, even though I know I have a strategy. So, but you know what? It's not frustrating to the point where I don't want to play it. It's just that I have not played a platformer game in a while, and I'm just rusty, and I'm getting my timing back. One of the kind of things about this game is that there's a lot of different weapons to suit a lot of different play styles. If you want to play a hard-hitting, slow-swinging weapon, or a magic heavy focus type character, or fast attacks, get them in quick and then back out and not get hit. I just don't play a lot of games like that, so I'm not doing so well with it, but it's really good so far. It's really good so far, so I'm really enjoying it. You should check it out if you get a chance.
Awesome.
Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, I believe it's called. Or wait, let me see. That might be wrong. Ritual of the Night. Curse of the Moon is a little mini game. Yeah, Ritual of the Night is good. Yep. So check it out. It's really good. It's Castlevania without calling it Castlevania.
Right.
Dracula may or may not be in it. There's a whole different little subplot where they're not necessarily using vampires, at least not yet. But there's a lot of demons and ghoulies and Halloween type stuff in there. Very gothic. Graphics are amazing. I think it's built in the Unreal Engine, so it just looks really, really good. So 2 thumbs up for me.
Good deal.
Yep. Okay. We got time for one more?
If there's something short you want to talk about, absolutely. If not, we can wrap it up.
One thing I want to mention is I think I'm going to spin up a BBS.
I'm listening.
Okay, my first introduction to getting online before the internet was a thing were bulletin board systems. Did you play in that arena?
I did.
Okay. For people who didn't do this, before you would dial up and like kind of dial into your internet provider, if you had a modem and you dialed into like America Online or like a regional internet provider like CompuServe or something, there were these things called BBSs, and BBSs were basically text-based interfaces. You usually dialed a modem somewhere. Maybe you had a bank of things, and essentially what it was is you could dial into these things and you could share games legally or otherwise, or you could play text-based games like NetHack, or what was the other big one?
To the internet.
NetHack was the biggest one, I think.
That's what I remember playing.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the march of technology is relentless, and then once people started getting online on the internet as we know it today with like web browsers and desktop experiences, BBSs kind of went by the wayside. I know for certain that where I grew up, there were a couple BBSs a couple towns over from me, and this is back in the day when, there was long-distance phone calls, but even phone calls outside of your immediate area code were expensive. Yeah. And I lived in a region of Pennsylvania that all of the internet providers, at least at first, like services like Prodigy would be a good analogy to a BBS, if you remember the Prodigy service.
I do. CompuServe, that kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, if you remember services like that, all of those access numbers were in a Pittsburgh area code for me and not in an area code near me. So in addition to paying the fee to be a part of these services, you also had to pay for the phone call. And listen, I came from a family of somewhat better means than my friends, but it wasn't like my parents were going to let me dial this phone call or dial these phone numbers every night, right? Now, BBSs, conversely, were local. They didn't give you access to the internet, but they gave you a place to go and converse, read messages or funny jokes or look at questionable images that, 16-year-olds should or shouldn't look at. But it was fun, right? And there were people that I went to high school with that would dial into these BBSs and play games and share files and things. But, once internet technology and desktop internet experiences kind of took off, they went by the wayside. But, there are still dedicated people who maintain bulletin board software. And I have found a few distributions of bulletin board software makers. So one thing I'm working on, I was hoping to have it ready to announce on this podcast, but it probably won't be ready until the next one, is I think I'm going to start an official Doing Their Best podcast BBS.
I'm ready for this. I need this in my life.
Yeah, and you're going to have all your favorites, right? We're going to have a messaging system. We're going to have NetHack. We're going to have cool ASCII art. We're going to make it open to SSH. My ultimate goal here is to make it available in my Raspberry Pi Kubernetes cluster. So it'll be something that I'll be able to learn as I go. I want to see if I can get this running. And if I can, we'll announce it and put a link maybe next time we do the podcast. But just know that it's something that I'm actively working on, because those were good times. Those were good times for me.
I didn't know I needed this in my life, and now I can think of nothing else. So yeah, you let me know how I can help, as I am ready.
I think it's going to be, once it's up and running, maybe helping style it out a little bit. Like,
okay, yep.
I think you think about the time that went into creating a logo for a BBS thing, right? Using nothing but original ASCII art. With colors and those various shaded ASCII characters.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I'm wondering if there aren't web services or websites that we can use to create those.
Oh,
because that's going to be painstaking.
Yeah, there's. I'm looking at some right now.
All right. So your homework, or anybody listening to this podcast, your homework is to take Gene's face, turn it into ASCII art, and colorize it, and that'll be the logo for the BBS.
Oh, on it.
Okay. All right. And I'll work on the back end stuff for now. But
awesome.
That's coming. That is definitely something that's coming. So, yeah. But that's all I got. What else you got?
No, you know what? I think this is good. I think that's a great way to close out the podcast, is the promise of a BBS in the future.
Yeah, I'm excited, and people will be able to SSH into it. I'll host it at my house, at least for now. But if people start trying to probe my network for vulnerabilities, then I'll throw it in the cloud somewhere. But we'll try this for now and see how it goes. Yeah. It looks like there's a few distributions that will run on ARM 32-bit, so we're going to try that. And worst comes to worst, I'll just spin up a proper Linux VM and do it. But I'm going to try to put it in my Kubernetes cluster, because I think that's just a cool way to use that cluster.
Awesome.
So, yeah. All right. Well, hey, this has been another episode of Doing Their Best. I'm Drew, and Paul, where can people find you online?
I am on Twitter at Paul Baylor. That's BAHLER. And how about you, Drew?
I'm on Twitter at Pitfurg, PITTFURG, and it always goes without saying, hey, we do this for fun. Opinions expressed here are our own and nobody else's, so be mad at us if we say something stupid. Otherwise, appreciate you guys listening, appreciate all the feedback we've gotten so far, and we'll see you guys next time.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Yep.